I became the director of an orphanage in a horror instance. A little boy, charred black, held out his hand. I smacked it away. Go wash up before you eat. A pretty little girl peeled back her own scalp. I just braided her hair for her. There, that looks so much better. Don't pull it out again. A mischievous little boy was kicking his own head around like a soccer ball. I kicked it right back to him. You know, I used to be on the school soccer team. Wanna play? The horror instance pulls people in, and an audience pays to watch the live stream. The first time I was pulled in, I drew the orphanage instance. People watching the stream were all staring at their screens, posting comments. Everyone was paying close attention to the orphanage instance. OMG, didn't they shut this instance down after too many team wipes? Why is it open again? And there's a newbie in this round. This newbie looks like a pushover. This is gonna be brutal. The role I drew was the orphanage director. The director? Isn't that the role that's guaranteed to die at the start? Poor newbie. I bet she's done in 30 minutes. No one in that role has ever survived the third mission. The audience chattered away. Someone even started a betting pool on how many minutes the newbie would last. Every time a new player joined, the black market would open a betting pool on whether they could survive their first instance. But my instance and role were special. No one believed I could even make it through the first mission. Welcome to the Sunbeam Home for Children. Your mission is to ensure the children grow up healthy and happy. Our motto is love and peace. As the mechanical, electronic voice faded, the scene switched. The sound of children's laughter filled the air, and a director's ID badge appeared around my neck. Director, come play with us. A few kids grabbed my hands, pulling me into the yard. Their hands were ice cold. A mission notification chimed in my ear. Mission 1, Fox and Hen. Fox and Hen is a wholesome game suitable for children. You will play the role of the mother hen, the chick's protector. You must not be caught by the fox. Survival time 30 minutes. Warning: this is a mandatory mission. Failure will result in death. Isn't this pretty simple? I was a pro at tag when I was a kid. I spread my arms, blocking the dark-skinned boy playing the fox. I was nimble, hopping left and right. Soon, frustrated that he couldn't catch any of the chicks behind me, the boy started getting agitated. I saw the black skin on his body begin to peel off. The paying audience in front of their screens started making predictions. Yep, that's the kid. He's bitten and killed several directors. It might be called Fox and Hen, but there's no way a horror instance would be that straightforward. The newbie seems way too into it. I can't watch, LOL. After the director gets killed, she'll be turned into a doll. These kids have a seriously twisted sense of humor. All the skin on the boy's face peeled away. He opened his mouth and charged straight at me, completely ignoring the rules. Warning: player is in mortal danger. Warning: player is in mortal danger. The electronic voice in my ear was giving me a headache. And is this really how you play Fox and Hen? This is just blatant cheating. Fine, if you're going to cheat, then so will I. I grabbed the boy's shirt and laughed. Got you. Your turn to be the hen. I'm the fox now. The little boy froze, seemingly confused. I pushed away the hands of the kids clinging to my clothes, walked to the other side, and patted the boy's shoulder. Hurry up, don't let me catch you. I pretended I was about to grab the chicks behind him. The boy instinctively blocked me, and the other children quickly grabbed onto his clothes. He spread his charred arms, repeatedly fending off my attacks, and his skin gradually grew back. Wait, you can do that? Could that be the actual solution? I remember the last person who survived this used an item to blow the kid up. Another top player used an item to seal the kid's mouth shut. The boy's skin was fully restored. He stood in front of the other kids, making a huff-huff sound. Maybe that was his version of a laugh. An electronic voice announced in my ear. The game of Fox and Hen is now over. I stopped, and the boy stopped, looking at me with confusion. I patted his shoulder. Let's take a break. You did a great job protecting the chicks behind you. The little boy smiled shyly. A big, burly residential advisor came over to call the kids for lunch. He looked pretty tough. I let out a sigh of relief and leaned against the wall, catching my breath. Damn, that was exhausting. These little monsters have way too much energy. Another electronic notification sounded in my ear. New mission. It's time for the children's lunch. As the director, you must ensure they have a nutritionally balanced meal with both meat and vegetables, and that they are not picky eaters. Note: this is an optional mission. Successful completion will be rewarded by the system. Can't a girl get a break? Fine. As the director, I have a responsibility to these kids. I took a deep breath and walked slowly to the cafeteria. The residential advisor was serving the children their food. I noticed he was also serving a mix of meat and vegetables, so he probably had the same mission. The little charred boy seemed to be the troublemaker. He pointed at the vegetables and said, "I don't want vegetables. They don't fill me up. I want to trade them for more meat." Mike Stone actually got this instance? That little monster is toast. Mike's got enough items to kill 10 of those things. Mike's combat stats are top tier among the players, right? Wonder if he can pull off a miracle this time. Quick question for everyone watching. Does killing the kid count as completing the mission? The residential advisor said in a gruff voice, "You have to eat it." No discussion. The little boy started shedding his skin again, baring his teeth as if to pounce on the advisor. The advisor impatiently pulled out a knife-like object. I stroked the little boy's head. "Cole, you can have my meat entree, but you still have to eat your vegetables." The children's names automatically appeared in my mind. After all, a director needs to know every child's name. Cole pulled his head back, staring at me with wide, black eyes, his gaze wary like a small animal's. I took the ladle from the residential advisor, added an extra portion of meat to his plate, and told him, "Go on, go eat." Seeing the double portion of meat, Cole grinned happily, revealing a set of bright white teeth, and walked away with his tray. The residential advisor froze, staring at me in complete shock. Mike is stunned. Mike always brute forces his way through instances, but sometimes his comprehension skills just can't keep up. Mike's strategy is to have no strategy. If it can be broken, he breaks it. The newbie is a boss. She actually talked him down. The knife-like object in the residential advisor's hand vanished. I saw his ID badge read Mike Stone. I said to him gently, "Mr. Stone, let's not have any restricted weapons in the children's living areas. We don't want any accidents, you know." Mike Stone frowned. Yeah, I get it." The food was all served. When it was my turn, there was indeed no meat left, only vegetables. After serving everyone, Mike and I got our own food and sat down with the children. After finishing his 2 servings of meat, Cole stared blankly at his vegetables. Mike couldn't help but urge him, "Eat it." Cole sat motionless. Mike sneered. I said, "Eat it now." Cole glared at Mike and reached out with his charred hand, aiming for Mike's neck. Mike pulled out his knife again. I slapped Cole's outstretched hand away. "You got your hands dirty eating that meat. Go wash them now." Cole gave me a wounded look and ran to the sink. As the faucet water hit Cole's charred hands, it made a sizzling sound. I smiled and waved at Cole. "Cole, how about this? I'll take a bite, then you take a bite. Let's see who can eat faster." Mike scoffed. "You think that's going to work?" "I don't think it'll work either. They're not real kids. The newbie is still too naive. But this ghost seems to really listen to the director." Cole looked at me, his little face too dark to read his expression. I took a bite of a carrot and said to Cole, "Your turn." The little boy was silent for a long moment, then ate a carrot too. Whoa, it actually worked. Are we watching a horror game or a child-rearing simulator? 1 star, I want a refund. But I think this is great. I love it. Mike had long since finished his meal and was silently watching us eat. Then he seemed to get hungry again and ate another 3 bowls of rice. Congratulations, player, on completing the mission. Mission reward. A restraint item that can immobilize an unnatural creature for 3 minutes. Some restrictions apply. Note: this is a portable item. If not used in this instance, it can be carried over to the next. The live chat erupted. Well, this is the first time I've seen someone actually complete this mission. That's a pretty good reward. Could be a lifesaver in a critical moment. Probably won't work on the final boss though. After lunch, the residential advisor went to wash the dishes. I took the children to the classroom for their lesson, handed them over to the teacher, and finally got to go back to my office and sit for a bit. A group photo of the children hung on the wall, but their expressions were all vacant. Below the photo were piles of cardboard boxes and teaching supplies. Leaving these boxes piled up here was a bit of a waste. Oh well, time to turn trash into treasure. I picked up the cardboard boxes and started making an Ultraman model. Is this part of a mission? She's making an Ultraman model. Is she crazy? This is so boring. I'd rather go watch Mike wash dishes. LOL, I just checked. Mike broke a plate and was being chased by the cafeteria chef, so he pulled out his knife and killed the chef. The chat went silent. Mike killed the cafeteria chef? Playing taps for the newbie and Mike. Why? That chef NPC respawns once a day. Without the chef, there's no food, and these little monsters will go berserk at night. Of course, I had no idea that my own residential advisor had offed the only cook in our cozy little orphanage. But I did hear a loud crash coming from the classroom. I walked to the classroom door and saw that the window was shattered. A head was lying among the broken glass. The teacher calmly continued her lesson. I walked over to the broken glass and picked up the head. The children all swiveled their heads to look at me, though their bodies remained facing the blackboard. A headless body walked over from the back of the classroom. The head in my hands opened its eyes, which darted around before settling on my face. Eek. I'm scared. The newbie's mental fortitude is insane. It's fine, just a small scene. But I don't remember this part from previous playthroughs of this instance. Previous players were all in the director's office, frantically searching for clues to survive. The body took its head from my hands, placed it on its neck, and started to head back to its seat. I stopped the boy and asked, "Leo, why was your head outside the classroom? Did you break the window?" Leo stared blankly ahead, his eyes unmoving. I noticed the boy's well-developed calf muscles and had an idea. I asked him, "Do you like to play soccer?" The boy's eyes flickered with a faint light, and he nodded. The bell rang, signaling the end of class. I checked the schedule. Next up was gym class. Our orphanage was always having the kids play all sorts of weird games, but we never had them do any proper sports. I've decided. We're playing soccer next period. It just so happens I was on the school soccer team. I know how to play, and I can teach them. Leo must have been kicking his head around in the classroom, because he had no one to play with. I gently patted Leo's head. Leo, playing soccer is a good thing. But you can only play on the field, not in the classroom. You wouldn't want to hurt anyone. I announced loudly, "Kids, next class we're all playing soccer." Once we got the kids to the field, I asked Cole, "Do you know where the soccer ball is?" Cole shook his head. The prettiest little girl in the group said in a sweet, delicate voice, "Ma'am, we don't have a soccer ball." I think this little girl's name was Lily. My toes curled in embarrassment. Is our orphanage really this poor? Leo silently took off his head. "Ma'am, you can use this." I felt its weight. It would work. "Are you sure, Leo?" I confirmed. Leo's head nodded in my hands. Mr. Stone saw us playing soccer, his expression one of utter shock. That's when I remembered what I needed to do. I said to him, "Mr. Stone, the classroom window is broken. Could you help clean it up?" Mike Stone flipped me the bird and walked away. "Ha ha ha, the newbie is ordering our boy Mike around." "Mike, like hell I'm listening to you." Mike's expression, "Ha ha, I'm dying." Leo had a great time playing soccer. I could even see a hint of a smile on his face. After class, I cleaned Leo's head and carefully placed it back on his neck. I patted his shoulder. "Remember, no more playing soccer in the classroom. We don't have the money to fix the window." When it was time for dinner, I took the children to the cafeteria. But there was no food at all. The cafeteria staff was nowhere to be found. The children's expressions gradually darkened. "I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry." I felt a pang of guilt. My children were starving. The kids stood up from their seats, chanting, "I'm hungry," and started walking toward me and Mike. Warning: due to a player eliminating an NPC, the children have become demonic. An electronic notification sounded in my ear. I shook my head. Demonic? They're just hungry. They can't control themselves. Who can sit still when they're starving? I rolled up my sleeves. At this point, I had no choice but to cook myself. Mike pulled out a huge cleaver, his expression serious. Looks like Mr. Stone is going to help me cook. Excellent. I grabbed a large goose from the back kitchen and tossed it to Mike. Kill it, pluck it. I'm making goose stew. The goose honked gawk, gawk at Mike. Mike looked at the goose, then at the children in front of him. I called out to a few kids I knew. Cole, take a few others and go wash the rice. Leo, take some kids to the backyard and pull up some carrots. Lily, take some others and pick some vegetables from the garden. Mike and the children stared at each other blankly. I clapped my hands. Quick, quick, quick. Get moving. This is today's labor education class. Cole and Leo were the first to move. Lily glanced at the cleaver in Mike's hand, and then left too. Only Mike was left, furiously hacking at the goose with the cleaver, as if to vent his frustration. The goose let out a final, tragic cry. I couldn't watch. I'd better go chop the ginger and garlic. After a lot of scrambling, we finally served dinner. The children ate heartily, and watching them made me happy. Mike even tried to fight the kids for meat, but I slapped his hand away. I gave him a piece of carrot instead. I asked Mike curiously, "Do you know what happened to the cafeteria cook?" Cooking every day felt like a lot of work, but if I had to, I'd do it myself. Mike silently swallowed the carrot, lowered his head, and shoveled rice into his mouth without a word. LMAO, Mike's gone silent. I feel like I'm watching a cooking show, not a horror stream. If you ignore the goose murder and the kids' weird looks, this is actually pretty wholesome. I'm eating right now, and this is making my food taste better. Y'all feel me? After dinner, I tucked the children into bed. Finally, I could rest. The next morning, I was jolted awake by the mechanical electronic voice. New mission: wake up the children in the orphanage. Note: this is an optional mission. Successful completion will be rewarded by the system. Forget the reward. Waking them up is my duty as the director. I quickly brushed my teeth, washed my face, got dressed, and ran to the dorms. The residential advisor, Mike Stone, was already there. I'm still too slow. I need to set an alarm for next time. The newbie probably doesn't know you shouldn't sleep too soundly in a horror instance. First time seeing someone sleep this peacefully in a horror game. We split up to wake the children. I took the girls' dorm, and Mike took the boys'. When I entered the girls' dorm, everyone was already up on their own, except for Lily, who was still lying face down in bed. All I could see was her beautiful long hair. I gently tapped her shoulder and called out, "Lily, time to get up." High-intensity scene incoming. Lily let out an irritated MMMPH and tugged at her hair. Her hair, along with her scalp, ripped right off, revealing the white brain matter inside. HHH, chat shield activate. Thanks for the warning. Her long hair grew longer and longer, each strand distinct, and shot toward my chest. System, use the item to control the hair for 3 minutes. I took out the hair ties I had prepared. I was planning to braid their hair for them after waking them up anyway. Now, with Lily's hair floating in the air, each strand separate, it was perfect for braiding. What is the newbie doing? She's braiding its hair. Why is this so creepy yet somehow hilarious? The newbie just wasted her item like that. Shouldn't she be running for her life? She's a goner. Done for. 3 minutes were up. I had finished a beautiful braid and placed the scalp back on Lily's head. Lily's head rotated 180 degrees to face me, her teeth bared. Then she saw her hair. I pinched Lily's cheek. "Good morning, Lily. I did your hair for you." Lily looked at her braid, then ran to the orphanage mirror to check it out. I got out Lily's clothes and said with a smile, "Lily, you're so pretty. Don't go messing up your hair like that." Lily smiled shyly and said in her sweet voice, "I know, director." OMG. I remember Lily having the highest combat stats among these kids. A top-tier player once used 3 items just to barely take her down. Lily, you got one over just like that? Wake up. You're supposed to be a psycho killer. As I helped the other children get ready, I heard the mission completion notification. Congratulations, player, on completing the mission. Mission reward. Time reversal for 3 minutes. Note: This reward can only be used in the current instance and only on a single individual. Time reversal. Sounds pretty good. Whoa. Time reversal. That reward is kinda OP. It's not a normal reward, it's practically turning back time. Well, if you think about it, this is a bug level instance, so a bug level reward makes sense. And it has a lot of restrictions. When I came out, I saw Mike had already brought the boys out. He was blushing a little. Whoa. What just happened? Is Mike blushing? I just switched over from Mike's POV. Our boy got a kiss from one of the kids. The newbie's Ultraman, was that effective? It looked like Mr. Stone's wake-up call went smoothly. I was relieved. This morning, worried Mike wouldn't be able to handle the little monsters, I gave him the Ultraman model I made yesterday. I told him, just say the first one to finish getting ready gets the Ultraman. I guarantee the boys will be faster than rabbits. Looks like they were indeed pretty fast. The cafeteria chef was back, and we had a smooth breakfast. The system issued another mission. New mission. Hide and Seek. Hide and Seek is a game for all ages that develops a child's observational skills. You and the residential advisor will be the hiders, and the children will be the seekers. Hiding time, 30 minutes. Please remain hidden for the duration of the game. Warning: this is a mandatory mission. Failure will result in death. So the mandatory missions in this instance are all just playing kids' games? You got it. Tomorrow is Drop the Handkerchief, and the boss is coming out. No spoilers. I looked at Mike sympathetically. He was so big, he'd be easy to find. The children were counting in the yard. While they counted, Mike and I had to hide. I pulled Mike toward the dorms. Mike was annoyed. What's the big idea? I asked him. Do you know the secret to hide and seek? Mike shook his head. I shared my expertise with him. Dynamic equilibrium. Mike had no idea what I was talking about. I explained. It means you can't just hide in one spot and hope for the best. You have to constantly watch your opponents and move your position based on theirs. Besides, we're the adults they look up to. We can't get caught, or we'll lose our authority. Mike nodded in deep agreement. Director, I'm with you. Where are we going? Mike's been brainwashed. But the newbie is really charismatic. I want to be on her team too. I've watched this instance so many times. Hide and seek seems impossible to win. They find you no matter where you hide. I led Mike to the security office on the first floor of the student dorms. From my observation, this office had a window that led outside. Once the kids came inside, we could climb out and hide outside the dorm. Mike and I squatted in the office, watching the situation in the yard. Those kids counted for a very long time. My legs were getting numb from squatting. Mike just lay down on the floor. Director, let me know if anything happens. I gave him a couple of kicks. The kids finished counting. Mike squatted down behind me. After they finished counting, the children started walking in our direction. Mike and I held our breath, ready to spring into action. Then I noticed the children had stopped in the open space in front of the dorm. Lily drew a hopscotch grid, and Cole led the kids to line up and play. Some of the kids didn't want to wait in line. Leo started playing hacky sack with them. The hacky sack was his own head. It was a scene of peace and harmony. Hello? Did these kids forget we were playing hide and seek? Is there anything more hurtful than being forgotten during a game of hide and seek? I wasn't having it. I was going out there. Mike grabbed me. Director, don't be impulsive. I was furious. Look at them. They've already forgotten about us. There's no point in hiding anymore. Mike said helplessly. Director, time's not up yet. Let's just hang out here for 30 minutes and then go out and teach those little rascals a lesson. Fine. Ha 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 ha, I'm dead. First time seeing Mike tell someone else not to be impulsive. The newbie is taking hide and seek so seriously, but she's brute forcing the instance with her heart. Mike asked me, Director, do you know why they aren't looking for us? I looked at my kids and said to Mike, you know, children can tell the difference between good and bad. They get attached to adults easily, even if they've just met us. Mike nodded. Director, you didn't answer my question. How should I know the answer? Never try to guess what a child is thinking. Mike said, Director, even if the kids really like us, we have to leave in a couple of days. I was confused. Why? Mike said. Didn't you read the fine print on the back of your roll card? This instance only lasts 5 days. Really? I'm going to miss them. Do the kids know that if they find the director, they'll die? The kids are smarter than we think. I came here for thrills, not a love-in. Switching instances by. I love this. Beep beep beep. System has detected an unknown anomaly. The current mission is now void. An electronic voice sounded in my ear. Looks like we don't have to hide anymore. Mike and I walked out. My face was grim. I wanted to ask them why they weren't playing hide and seek properly. Lily ran over, tilting her little face up at me. Director, want to play hopscotch with us? Lily's hand grabbed mine. It was cold, but her expression was much more alive. Leo grabbed Mike's arm. Mr. Stone, let's go play with the Ultraman. Mike and I looked at each other. We had come out ready to deliver a lecture, but now we didn't have the heart. Let's just play with them. A zzz of electronic static filled my ears. I couldn't help but cover them. Then a cold, merciless electronic voice came through, rectifying unknown anomaly. Initiating nighttime protocol ahead of schedule. The once clear sky suddenly darkened, and a fierce wind began to blow. Lily shivered, and I knelt down and put my arm around her shoulder. The curtain of night was abruptly pulled down, replacing the day. Darkness fell in an instant. A single red full moon rose in the sky, with not a star in sight. New mission. Drop the handkerchief. This is a game well suited for children, fostering their responsiveness and social skills. You and the residential advisor will lead the children in a game of drop the handkerchief. Note: this is a mandatory mission that must be performed, but there is no time limit. The expression on Lily's face, who was still in my arms, suddenly went blank. She broke free from me and walked toward the field. Leo also started walking toward the field. Both children's eyes were glowing with an eerie red light. Mike and I followed behind them. The children formed a circle on the field, their faces vacant, sitting motionless. Mike whispered, "We need to be careful." The two of us sat down in the empty spots in the circle. The children began to hum the tune of Drop the Handkerchief. Drop, drop, drop the handkerchief. Gently place it behind a little friend. Don't you tell him where it is. Quickly, quickly, go and catch him. Quickly, quickly, go and catch him. Drop, drop, drop the handkerchief. Gently place it behind a little friend. Don't you tell him where it is. Quickly, quickly, go and catch him. Quickly, quickly, go and catch him. Drop, drop, drop the handkerchief. Gently place it behind a little friend. Don't you tell him where it is. Quickly, quickly, go and catch him. Quickly, quickly, go and catch him. After the third time through the song, still nobody moved. Isn't someone supposed to be walking around with the handkerchief? This doesn't make sense. I called out Lily's name, but she didn't react at all. There was nothing else for it. I started reciting the Diamond Sutra. Fighting magic with magic. First time I've seen someone chant scriptures in a horror instance. If chanting worked, what would I need my giant hammer for? The singing grew fainter. Lily seemed to snap out of it. She tugged my sleeve and asked, "Director, how many times did we sing the song?" I couldn't remember. 3 or 4 times, I think. Lily screamed. It still came out. Just as I was about to tell Lily that screaming like that wasn't very ladylike, I heard a hee-hee sound from behind me. I turned my head and saw a giant, infant-like creature crawling toward me, an umbilical cord still dragging from its belly. You could call it a baby, but it was bigger than Mike and me combined. It was purple all over, with broad, fat shoulders and 4 arms attached. Brother, sister, is this how you do your missions? Why are they still alive? Hee. The giant baby opened its mouth, revealing a set of sharp teeth. Lily stood up, blocking me. Don't you come any closer. The giant baby kept crawling forward, one of its arms lashing out at me. Lily's hair wrapped around the arm. The baby stretched its other arms toward me. Leo and Cole came over too, the 3 children blocking the baby's arms from 3 different directions. But we were all so tiny compared to it. Hee, brother, sister, do you really think you can stop me? Have you forgotten? I'm father's favorite child. The children gritted their teeth, not giving an inch. Oh, for goodness sake. When did I become so pathetic that I need children to protect me? I'm their director, after all. Mike took the opportunity to run away. Where did Mike go? Mike, the man who always faces things head-on, actually ran. This is unbelievable. My man Mike isn't a coward. I sighed and said in a cutesy voice, "Sweetie, what's your name?" "You don't have a name, do you?" The giant baby's name hadn't appeared in my mind, probably because no one had given it one. The baby shook its head. "Don't talk to me in that tone. I won't listen." I continued in a gentle voice. "Can the director give you a name? How about we call you Angel?" "Angel, this is the first time I'm meeting you, so I didn't have time to prepare a gift. All I can do is sing for you. Sleep, sleep, my dear little baby. Mama's hands are gently rocking you. The cradle rocks you. Go to sleep now. The night is quiet, the blanket's so warm. Sleep, sleep, my dear little baby. Mama loves you, Mama adores you. A lily for you, a rose for you. When you wake up, Mama will give them all to you." Lily and the other children started singing the lullaby with me. The giant baby yawned, then wiped its face with one hand. It began to cry, a single red tear forming at the corner of its eye. I opened my arms and said with the utmost sincerity, "Angel, come to Mama and have some milk." Just then Mike ran back over, his face smeared with dirt. He handed me a bucket of milk he had just squeezed from the cow in the backyard. "El Mayo, you guys have no idea. Mike just got into a fight with a cow. Mike's Waterloo. He got trampled by a cow. Mike, high-level horror instance player, defeated by a domestic cow." The giant baby crawled over on all fours and started lapping up the milk in the bucket. I stroked its head and said, "Good boy, Angel. Mama's here." After it had drunk most of the milk, it mumbled, "Mama? Mama. 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 Mama." The baby's forearms picked me up and tossed me in the air. Lily's hair caught me. After finishing the milk, the baby fell asleep. That's it. That must be the legendary beast taming technique. I've discovered that the director is an expert at taming all creatures, from the kids to Mike to this baby. So, I'd hate for the newbie to die, but this is a guaranteed death instance. Why? Explain. He's coming back. Who's coming back? Lily stood beside me, a conflicted look on her face. I put my arm around her shoulder. "What's wrong, Lily? Is something on your mind?" Lily said, "Director." Her face turned red, and she stammered, Can I call you Mama?" I smiled. "Of course you can. Director Mama." The other children crowded around me, also calling out, "Director Mama." The wind chime on the orphanage's main gate tinkled, and the willow tree in the yard swayed without any wind. A deep male voice rang out, "Children, I'm home. Papa. Daddy. Father." The children who had been gathered around me just a moment ago instantly abandoned me and ran toward the sound of the voice. A handsome man in a dress shirt and slacks stood at the orphanage gate. Lily hugged the man's leg, acting cute. Leo and Cole also chattered excitedly around him. His smile was elegant and approachable, but for some reason a chill ran down my spine. I felt it, an overwhelming sense of pressure, and a primal fear, as if being suppressed by a superior bloodline. All hail the Dark God. It's the Dark God himself? So killing the little ghosts is useless. The Dark God just one-shots everyone, and then revives them. The instance's livestream was suddenly flooded with viewers. All hail the Dark God. Timed my visit just to see the Dark God. The orphanage is finally open again. The Dark God is mighty. My God is so handsome. Behind me, Mike was trembling like a leaf. The man seemed to notice my gaze and started walking in our direction. The children followed behind him. Mike couldn't take the pressure and collapsed to the ground. The man spoke to us very politely. "A pleasure to meet you. Thank you for helping me take care of my children." I pressed down on my trembling hands and replied, "It's nothing, it's what we should do." The man wasn't even listening to me. He turned to Lily and said gently, "Have you had enough fun, Lily? Kill them." He said it as casually as if he were saying, "Lily, let's go have dinner." Lily hesitated. The man knelt down and stroked her head. "Aren't you the one who always listens to Papa, Lily? I avenged you all. Shouldn't you listen to me?" Lily and the other children took a few steps forward, looked at me, touched the braids in their hair, and remained hesitant. I could tell this man could kill me with a flick of his finger, but he didn't want to do it himself. He was savoring the pleasure of control. I also tried to persuade her gently, "Lily, don't listen to him. You only need to listen to your own heart. This is emotional blackmail. The fact that he helped you get revenge is his business. You don't have to do something you don't want to do because of it." The man glanced at me and whispered in Lily's ear, "Do you like Director Mama very much?" Lily nodded. A troubled look appeared in the man's eyes. "But Director Mama has to leave in a couple of days, did you know? The only way for her to stay with you forever, Lily, is to turn her into a specimen." What kind of twisted logic is that? Is that any way to raise a child? 1. I temporarily blocked out my fear. My ability to handle pressure has always been good. I yelled at the man, "What nonsense are you talking about? Do you even know what a mother is? A mother moves. She smiles and takes care of people. What is this specimen you're talking about? If a specimen is all a child needs, then what's the point of mammals?" The man stared at me in surprise, then smiled. "Do you want to be their Director Mama forever?" I didn't quite understand what he meant. "What do you mean?" The man stared into my eyes. "Become like them, and you can be their mother forever. Are you willing?" The dark god is trying to corrupt someone again? Become a ghost? Isn't that still just dying? It means dying and becoming one of the instance's bosses. Only the dark god has that kind of power. The children looked at me with hopeful eyes. Lily tugged at the corner of my shirt. "Director Mama, please stay." The man said, "You will possess unnatural, immense power and an immortal body, even stronger than these children." I didn't answer, turning instead to face the children. I asked them, "Do you know what love is?" The children looked confused. Love isn't possession. It's about letting go, about wanting what's best for the other person. I love you all very much, but I can't give up who I am for that. If I did, I wouldn't be me anymore. I asked the man, "And why did you open this orphanage?" The man chuckled lightly. "Because I love these children, of course." I stared into his eyes, not backing down. "Are you very lonely? Don't you want them to have a good life? You avenged them, gave them a place to live, but why are they still so full of resentment? Have you ever asked them what they want? Why, as their father, are you never around to spend time with them?" These children weren't truly evil spirits. Lingering here meant they had unfinished wishes. The times they almost hurt someone were because their resentment hadn't faded. The man asked the children, "What do you all want?" Lily looked down, then looked up and said, "Lily wants Papa and Director Mama to make specimens with her." Leo put his head back on his neck. "Leo wants Daddy and Director Mama to play soccer with him." Cole touched his face. "Cole wants Father and Director Mama to eat with him." The children all chattered at once, speaking their hearts. Although Mike still couldn't get up from the ground, he chimed in, "Don't you guys want Mr. Stone to do anything?" "Leo, didn't you say this morning that you liked Mr. Stone the best?" Leo was at a loss for words, so embarrassed he almost pulled his head off. Lily quickly helped him out. "Lily wants Mr. Stone to live." "I want Mr. Stone to live too." The children all chimed in agreement. "Ha ha ha, to live. That's a pretty good blessing in a horror instance." This instance is definitely going on Mike's highlight reel of shame. First getting trampled by a cow, now being scared into a puddle. You don't understand the pressure from the dark god. All I can say is the director is no ordinary person. The man took 2 more steps toward me, stopping right in front of me, looking down at me. Mike pushed himself backward a few more feet. The pressure was overwhelming. I felt like I was going to throw up. The man's eyes were golden, their depths holding an inhuman coldness and indifference. I forced myself to stand up straight and meet his gaze. The man leaned in and whispered in my ear, "You will help me fulfill their wishes." It seemed I didn't have the right to refuse. The dark god's whisper. I wish the dark god would whisper in my ear. The newbie is one of the few players I've seen who can actually hold a conversation with the dark god. P.S. All those previous players ended up as bosses in high-level instances. I looked up at his golden eyes. "Fine. But you have to let me and Mike go afterward. The man agreed. Ha ha ha. The dark god never keeps his promises. If the dark god keeps his word, I'll eat my keyboard. 1. The children's wishes were actually very simple, mundane, trivial, and specific. They just wanted to be loved and accompanied. As their wishes were fulfilled one by one, the children vanished one by one. After we finished making leaf specimens with Lily, I styled her hair beautifully. Lily said, "Director Mama, Papa, thank you." It was already dusk on the 5th day. Now the only child left in the orphanage was Angel. For the past 2 days, Angel had lived the life of a normal baby. Eat, sleep, and eat again. The man asked me, "What is his wish?" I smiled. Angel's wish has already been fulfilled. I cut Angel's umbilical cord. He let out a few soft coos and vanished. In the vast courtyard of the orphanage, only the man and I remained. The man looked at me and said, "Stay and keep me company, human. You will no longer have to bear human sickness, pain, and death. I will grant you the greatest power, and you will become my guardian. They will fear you, praise you, and obey you." Whoa, a direct promotion to guardian. My Lord Dark God, I want to be your guardian too. You don't like being alive upstairs? The Dark God really likes the director. The man's tone wasn't a suggestion, it was an order. But I didn't want to give up human fear, joy, worry, and pain. And I didn't like the idea of being anyone's guardian. Over the past few days, I had heard from Mike that this man was a dark god. I kicked a stone on the ground and said sincerely, "I wish to retain my human identity for a few more hours. Before midnight, before I leave, I will be your loyal servant." I took Mike for a walk, watered the plants, cooked and milked the cow. Mike's face was full of worry. "What do we do? What do we do? You're about to become a ghost. Don't you know, only humans can leave the instance." I trimmed a dry willow branch and said to Mike, "Nothing we can do. Just pray you don't run into me in the future." Mike, ha ha ha, I'm already looking forward to the director's own instance. The director went straight from newbie to boss. That's insane. But I want to see the director clear more instances. Before midnight, the dark god carved a golden brand into the palm of my hand. An intricate pattern formed on my palm, burning but bearable. First time seeing the dark god be so gentle. Didn't he usually just choke them to death and then slash them a few times? Even though I can't read the dark god's brand, it looks different from the ones on the other ghosts. I felt my life force rapidly draining away. My hands and feet grew cold. I touched my face. So this is what it feels like to become a monster. I looked at Mike and felt I could kill him with a flick of my finger. I saw the exit portal for the instance open. I told the dark god I was going to see Mike off. Mike actually survived. Mike can brag about this for 3 years. It's mainly because the director is a badass. The dark god didn't even care about Mike. I entered the exit portal with Mike. System, I'm using the item. Reverse time on myself for 3 minutes. I became human again. The brand on my palm vanished. The system's barrier rose, and the man couldn't cross. I saw the man's expression shift from confusion to fury. Whoa. This is how you use a limited use item correctly. It's also because the dark god is sealed and fragmented. This instance only contains a fragment of him. Otherwise, the system might not have been able to block him. I heard the man's voice. "You deceived me, human." I replied. "You were the one who broke your promise first. You used absolute power to command obedience, but it wasn't real. We only obeyed you out of fear. Do you know what true obedience is? It comes from love and respect." I waved goodbye to the man. I could no longer hear his voice. We were back in the game lobby. Epilogue. Live stream chat. Orphanage instance cleared. It will now be permanently closed. Why is it being permanently closed? Weren't the little ghosts revived by the dark god after players killed them before? Because what lingered was the ghosts' resentment and obsession, so they could keep reviving. Now that the director has fulfilled their obsessions and eliminated their resentment, the dark god can't revive them anymore. That's my theory. I'd like to know, for all those people who bet the newbie wouldn't last a few minutes, does your face hurt? The director is the GOAT. I'm officially a fan. In the game lobby, many people were congratulating Mike for clearing the orphanage instance. That's our Mike for you. Clearing an instance like that. The veteran players were so secretive about this instance. I just knew Mike would make it out. All the old-timers said you were a goner, but our boy Mike is just that good. Mike was a little embarrassed by all the compliments. I stood quietly beside him. They saw me and asked Mike, "Is this the newbie? How was she, Mike?" Mike scratched his head and looked at me. I said softly, "Mike took great care of me." The crowd started hooting. Mike, the man of steel, finally getting a clue. Mike tried to explain, but he couldn't get a word in. I didn't linger. I followed the system's instructions to find my room. According to the system, I still had more instances to clear. First, a hot shower. As I was drying my hair after the shower, I suddenly felt a burning heat in my palm. I looked at my hand. The golden brand, which had vanished, had reappeared.